Innervibe show on Essence Radio. This is Yaz Alexander. Says so.
Hello and good evening and welcome to the Innervibe show on Essence Radio, as Yaz Alexander just said in the jingle, on Sunday, help me out, 3rd of February.
I was going to say November.
2013.
20.
I think by 2013. And you keep telling me off for it, don't you?
Not keep, I said once.
Okay, no, twice in fact.
Alright, twice.
Okay.
That's not keep though, is it?
Yeah, whatever. Anyway.
Greetings everyone.
Greetings everybody. How you doing out there? Hope you're all well. How are you doing this evening, Muslim Blue? Apart from being cheeky.
How am I being cheeky?
How you doing, Muslim Blue?
I'm fine, thank you. Yourself?
I'm fine, thank you. Yes, had a good day?
Yeah, it's been hectic.
Apart from being late.
1 minute.
Yeah, but the setup. Oh, anyway, yes, she was late, guys. Can you believe it? Anyway.
It's like my first time ever being late.
Yeah, second.
When's the second time?
Anyway. Yeah.
When was the first time before this?
When you wasn't even in the country. When you were supposed to be here.
Alright, because that counts.
Yeah, that counts.
Okay.
Yeah. So what have you been doing today, anyway?
Been doing things. What about yourself?
Yeah, I went for a nice walk in the beautiful grey day we had today. It was quite grim, wasn't it, really?
But it
was actually quite mild, so it was quite nice to go out for a walk and do a bit of writing and yeah.
It's 7 degrees out there now. Before I came here, when I was waiting for the bus, it was 10 degrees.
Okay.
And that's like usually like what it is in the summertime in the evening.
Yeah.
So it had like sort of like a summertime
feeling to it.
Yeah.
Apart from it being grey.
Well, I couldn't see because it's dark anyway.
Okay.
So I can't tell whether it's grey or not.
Well, just now, yeah, you're talking about.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, it's 10 Celsius, isn't it? Wow. Strange weather, isn't it, really, for this time of the year?
Are we really going to talk about the weather?
You started it. What else has been going on in the news today, you know? Have you been shut off from that world?
No, I've just... Some weird videos I've been hearing about these weird videos that have been circulated on the internet going viral.
Okay.
Basically, apparently a few days... This video has been removed, but this is just making me think people are just disgusting. Right, a few weeks ago, there was a girl... This is why I'm going to give you 2 examples of why people are becoming more disgusting. A few weeks ago, there was a video of a girl, and she basically, like, dared herself to suck all the blood out of her tampon. And...
Okay.
It's just disgusting. And there's actually a video of her sucking her tampon dry. And yeah, anyway...
Yeah.
And then on Facebook, this video got removed, but some people at work were telling me there's a video of this girl, and the title of the video was called "I Got Dared to Do This for a $5," and she let a dog do her from behind.
Okay.
And yeah.
Let's talk about the weather.
but like it got deleted, obviously, the video. But first of all, I'm thinking like, okay, she got dared for a $5. She must have been desperate for money, and second of all, that's animal cruelty. It is disgusting, and people are getting like more and more like this. Like they're doing disgusting things just for like 15 minutes of fame. Yeah, I think she's gonna get reported to the authorities though.
Okay, the OSPCA.
Something like that. I don't know.
Okay.
I only had literally heard about this video, but I know some people who've actually watched it.
Does she need putting down?
Possibly, yeah.
That's you just wouldn't, you know.
You just question people, seriously.
Yeah. Gosh, how old was she? Do you know?
I have no idea. All I know is that it happened here in England, and she was just. Oh, anyway.
Wow. Okay. Anyway, yeah.
Yeah.
For real. That's just disgusting, man. But this is the state of the world, isn't it?
Yeah.
But, you know, let's hope that more and more people are becoming more aware of their own stupidities, their own foolishness, really. That's what I'm saying. And,
like, it's fun to have a bit of fun and mess about, yeah.
But that's hardly fun, though, is it?
But then there is a limit to... I don't even know. I've got no comment.
Any other news?
In terms of the world, no. But I saw a video, actually, that I thought was really sweet. And it was like, I think these kids, they must have been about 4 or 5 years old. And it was a brother and a sister. And there was like basically this gap. And like the sister couldn't cross. So the brother was trying to help her. But then she couldn't come across. So what he did, he laid his body out across from the side. And the little sister walked across him.
Wow.
And they were only little children. And I thought that was so sweet. Wow. And we need more of that in the world.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
That's the sort of news, isn't it? We should be
and
looking for, really.
Yeah, I'll show you the video. I just thought it was so sweet.
Oh, awesome.
But yeah, what about yourself? Have you heard anything new?
I haven't actually. No, I've just been doing my writing and reading, so getting into that really more and looking out and trying to sort myself out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
In these times that we're living in, so.
I think one of the main focuses has been International Women's Day this week for me.
As well. Yeah.
For
International Women's Day.
For what? Yeah, because so by the way, people, International Women's Day is coming along really great.
Mm-hmm.
And we are taking donations and contributions. Some really great people in the community have donated food, and basically all the money that we make on the food we're raising funds for our campaign. So it all goes to a great cause. So if you can cook, please contribute your dishes. However much you can contribute, please. We would be so grateful for it.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Okay, let's take a break, and then we'll come back and see if we can get James Power in. I'm having difficulty at the moment. I'm just trying to locate it, but it's
let's
I think he's having difficulty with his Skype, so we'll take a break and come back. Okay.
Yep.
Stay calm, oh-ish, no. Lips form H-bomb, sis spit, blow. Rock in a hard place, we walk in the hard way. Don't force it, forfeit the game if you can't hold your horses. Building with unreliable sources. Soul selling foes yelling need to get off it. They warped it, me without rhymes is awkward. like tulip shoes. I give fools turquoise and navies, tofu with gravy, spinach saute me. The hunger's crazy, it bubbles daily. You dropped it, I pop lock it. So get my name right, STAHHR light. You done know what I've been through, so how you gon' pretend to analyze or read me on my Gonzalez like Speedy? Antagonize the greedy till they break bread with the needy. Speech graffiti, all caps, I know you see me. On my Gonzalez like Speedy.
Steps that I keep, take the breath of these geeks. Master the wizardry of the heart. Movement of the people, y'all. We call it true love.
On my Gonzalez like Speedy.
Steps that I keep, take the breath of these geeks. If you ain't built for it, got skills for it, you get killed for it.
Yo, rawness habitually, swords with it lyrically sharp. Master the wizardry of the art, elegant touch, heaven sense clutch. Mics grabbed up in mad regions, intriguing tones of benevolence. All he really knew of, movement of the people, y'all, we call it true love. Who would the regime come with it so pristine? Test the time rhymers, they need to come clean. Couldn't hold away to the elements. Mr. Robinson's back, he made it cool to be intelligent in fact. Actual gems by the stack, but who's counting? Known to bring the fire to track in large amounts, son. Shine on them like glisten, just listen. World-renowned sound so profound, tight whispering. Raspy but classy, all in the same swing. Hats off, track raw, do the damn thing.
On my Gonzalez like Speedy.
Steps that I keep, take the breath of these geeks. If you ain't built for it, got skills for it, you get killed for it.
On my Gonzalez like Speedy.
Steps that I keep, take the breath of these geeks.
Movement of the people, y'all, we call it true love.
Do they even deserve rhymes? I preserve time. If these jerks ain't putting in real work, it's reverse time. Kill them again. Rehearse lines. Stop your flow like funeral traffic. Gotta glow, yeah, beautiful magic. Who's this elaborate without a sequence dress? Leave the sequence press, permanent fresh, like a recent test. At least we blessed. No sleepless stress, stressless sleep. Eyes wide as a stretch of the beach. My vibe from the west to the east. Blindsided from the depth of these steeps. Steps that I keep, take the breath of these geeks. Flabbergasted from the vastness of these mathematics. I've attached it for you to attack it and activate the inactive, emancipate the captives. This is the sound of freedom, most profound with deep end. If you ain't built for it, got skills for it, you get killed for it. So if you say you nice, be willing to trade your life. I'm really amazing like 3D visuals. He's lyrical. Say what I want, being PC's pitiful.
The Innervibe Show on Essence Radio. This is Yas Alexander. Says so.
Well, welcome back. Welcome back.
Greetings.
Yes, we have James Power on the show this evening, calling from Baltimore, Maryland, United States, talking metaphysics.
Ooh.
So yes, it'll be an interesting evening. He broke down the metaphysics behind the film Django as well, which was quite interesting.
Okay.
Maybe you can go into that. But you've not seen it yet, have you?
Nope.
So we don't want him to spoil it for you.
No. I need to watch that film.
Yeah, you do need to watch that film.
Yeah.
Most definitely.
Django.
Most definitely. Let's have a look at James. Let's bring him in.
What a weird sound.
Greetings, James. How you doing, man?
Hey, can you hear me, brother?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear.
Right, I think it's not going through broadcasting though. One second. Just hold the line, please, James. Sorry about this. We seem to be having technical difficulties yet again.
Which we were trying to sort out before.
Yes. Oh, this is my co-host Roslyn Blue, by the way.
Hi, is it James?
James, yeah.
Hi, James.
Hello, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing well.
Okay.
Yeah. So, James, do you want to tell us a little bit more about yourself, please?
Okay, great. Well, where do I begin? I was born, of course, here in the States, right around the District of Columbia, a place called Arlington, which is right outside of the District of Columbia. And I guess I would skip forward to the metaphysics stuff because I guess that's what matters.
Yeah.
Early on, there's a minister of the Nation of Islam, Dr. Abdul Ali Muhammad, and maybe around 1980, I would sit up under his lectures. And the interesting thing about him, he didn't have any, he didn't have any limitations. So any type of knowledge, wisdom that he could find, he would find a way to put it in his lectures. And these lectures would be 4 to 5 hours long. So as a kid at about 5 years old, I'm sitting up under a 4 or 5 hour lecture every Sunday afternoon. And, I was the type of kid where I said, well, if I'm going to sit here, I might as well try to absorb some of this information that he's actually giving out. And so this went on for I'd say about 5 years that I'm sitting up under this, lecturer who's essentially a metaphysics lecturer because he didn't let anything go. And that kind of shaped my experience along with other things that were happening in my life because I had an experience at 7 years old where I, sort of woke up and a voice spoke through me and said, I guess I'm back again to get it right this time. And then, of course, having no history or no understanding of what at 7 or 8 years old of what metaphysics is or of what reincarnation is or anything like that, it was kind of weird to me that a voice would speak through me, and it was clearly a man's voice, and that really set me on my on the road to a deeper understanding of things. And I would say it's that and an experience I had when I was about 15 or 16 that really kind of laid the foundation. And just to share that one real quick, I had an experience where I bilocated or came out of my body. A part of me came out of my body at 16, and that was really an eye-opener. So, it was those two experiences that really started me down the road. And, I could say about 20 years later, kind of here I am.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay, wow.
Wow. That's quite something, really, isn't it? Yeah.
So, so far, like, in terms of, like, your, what you do and everything, what exactly do you do then?
Well, what I decided early on, and I used to study the various lectures, whether it be philosophical, metaphysical, African spiritual. I would study the various lecturers, and I would look and I would see just how much what they were saying was really able to help people, or able to, foment some type of change in people's lives in a certain direction. And what I kind of came to determination for myself was I would sort of find myself a small little niche area that would be, an area that other people were not delving into. And so it's almost like I was deciding that I was going to fill a void just to kind of, so we could have more of a holistic experience in the way of lectures and things of that nature. Yeah. And I decided that a lot of people were not doing fundamental ABC elementary metaphysics. And so what would happen was people would, get in it, but they would get kind of thrown into the deep end. Yeah. And, some people are very good at swimming and very good at holding their breath, but there are other people who, you throw them in the deep end and they just get more and more lost. And so what I decided was I would have something that was at the shallow end of the pool for a couple of reasons, because I didn't want to get involved in a lot of the debating that was going on, because a lot of the information leads to a lot of debate, which doesn't necessarily lead us into a direction of, getting a whole lot done. Yeah. So I decided to do it for that reason. And then for another reason, if people had a firm foundation and they could choose the direction that they wanted to go. If a person's interested in healing, a person could go towards those modalities. If a person's interested in, say, consciousness, they can move into those modalities. Technology, they can move into those modalities. And so I wanted to kind of create a niche for myself that was somewhere at the foundation, but was something that people could relatively easily understand. And so I developed something called observational metaphysics, which is just taking that which we observe and which we can all agree is true, and then taking that and then expanding on that and moving out into what is the unknown, or that which is beyond physical, or the metaphysics aspect of things. And I was able to do that to some success, thank God.
Yeah, and it was that simplicity, the way you explained metaphysics, which drawed me to you basically a couple of years ago. So I did like the way you it was simplified. Mm-hmm. You get other speakers talking about metaphysics out there who have, as you said, you get thrown into the deep end.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But that's good also. Do you know what I mean? As you said, depending on their level of ability to actually learn. But the way that you brought it across was quite like ABC-ish, so to speak.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think that's something that's direly and sorely needed even still. We got a lot, and it's not to knock anybody for what they're doing, but even those people who really get deep into it may want to, just for their listeners and just for those people who they would call their students, do some some 101 stuff. I think one of the things that I wanted to get clear on, because it gets convoluted, is the definition of metaphysics as opposed to, let's say, occult.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people don't necessarily, they think that they are synonymous, but they think that they're the same things, and they wouldn't be different words if they were in fact the same thing. Mm-hmm. And so, very quickly, the objective view is the view that everybody has. You view Jack runs to the store, and Jack becomes the object, and he's running, and where is he running to? Or he's running to the store. Or really Jack runs, if you want to be very objective about it, because you don't know where he's running. And then metaphysics goes a little deeper to that than that, to say, okay, based upon the pattern of what Jack has been doing, okay, what can we say about Jack? We can say that Jack runs to the store. Jack runs to the store every day at 5 o'clock before his girlfriend gets home, so to speak. Mm-hmm. And then occult goes one level deeper than that to say, why is Jack running? How is Jack running? And gets really deep into other aspects of Jack and Jack running to the store. Mm-hmm. The reason why this is so important is because if we lumped everything together, then we would be having a conversation and we wouldn't necessarily know where it's going. Mm-hmm. But if you can parse apart what each speaker aims to do, then you can from that extrapolate, okay, what am I supposed to really get from this particular speaker or this particular lecture or this particular book or this particular whatever. Yeah. And you can decide whether, okay, it's a good idea to give your time to X, Y, or Z based upon what you're really supposed to be getting, as opposed to, just listening and trying to get an understanding. Mm-hmm. So you got a lot of occult teachers out there, which is great and wonderful. And then you got a lot of metaphysics teachers, which is great and wonderful. And then you got a lot of people who just deal with, the objective view, which is what we see every day. Mm-hmm. And so I think we got to really make a contrast in what these things are. And I won't give the person's name, but, just as an anecdote or just as a story, a lot of the occult teachers, that I listen to and respect are people who have been there. Jordan Maxwell. You'll hear Jordan Maxwell, and he'll talk about, I met this type of person, I met that type of person, I met this person and that person, and because I met all of these people, this has formed and shaped my view along with my experiences and what I've read and what I've studied in X, Y, Z, A, B, C, D, F, G. Mm-hmm. And so that gives him a foundation on which he can give you an occult understanding, which is the deepest level of understanding that you could possibly have. Another good example is Dick Gregory. When you look at Dick Gregory's history, he was with the Malcolm X's, he was with the Martin Luther King Jr.'s, he was with the Muhammad Ali's, he was with the John F. Kennedy's. He was with all of these people in some way, shape, form, or fashion, or some capacity. And so it shapes his occult view of just what's happening underneath of the surface. What we have to be careful about as it relates to the occult is when somebody gives you a view that's only formed of reading books, because The challenge is if a person steps forward and says, well, I was somebody who was there, then the person who's only book learned, if they're not careful enough to say, well, let me just check and see if this person was there, then they'll say, well, I can't find you in my book. So therefore, what you have to offer to what I'm saying in this particular conversation is not valid. And I ran into a situation like that because I was there at the inception of the Nation of Islam joining Scientology. I was there for a lot of stuff. And a lot of people don't realize, well, you've been living, 37 years on planet Earth, then you might have been around for some things. And I've been around not just to see it on TV, but to actually be in the room for a lot of the things that have actually, been part of shaping history. And even though the occult is not my thing, when I hear somebody say, well, this is what happened and this is how it happened, and I was there in the room, then I'm going to step forward and say, well, hold up. I was there in the room when this happened, and I know the genesis of this situation. Well, it turns out this particular occult teacher wasn't trying to hear the genesis of the situation, even though I said I was there. I know the players. I know who's who. I know who did what. I know why. And that person wasn't necessarily interested because that person had their quote unquote occult story, but it wasn't, formed or founded in anything real. It was founded in, stuff that they extrapolated from, books they've read, from experiences of people in the past, and just a whole bunch of other stuff. And so that, kind of to me was like a red flag of, whoa, okay, there are people actually out here who are doing this who don't have any interest in the truth. Yeah. And that can be really dangerous when, you've got so many people that are forming their view based upon your foundation. Yeah. And I just wanted to give that as an idea of why we have to be, we have to define things, so to speak. And upon defining something, you know what it is, and then you can say, okay, this is what that is, and this is what that isn't. But we can go wherever you want to go.
Okay. There's like so many things that can be covered today, so.
Yeah. So the basic principles of metaphysics. Yeah. I mean, I'm led to believe that metaphysics means beyond this reality, or abstractual things, a being or being. Is that right?
I think that's right, and then some. Metaphysics is so vast and so broad that it touches on. I would call it the intersection of science, spirituality, philosophy, and anything that deals with or that seeks to uncover human consciousness or human behavior. And so that is a broad level of study. But it's metaphysics is all encompassing in that it doesn't exclude anything. It says to the exclusion of nothing, we want to make new discoveries about reality and humans' place in reality. So I would say all of that and then some if you're looking for the broadest definition of metaphysics. And metaphysics can even include occult studies also if you want to really get if you want to really get down and dirty with it. But of course, if metaphysics is this broad set of all of these things, then you definitely want to understand what all of the different modalities are, or just a little bit about what all of the different modalities are that would make up metaphysical knowledge.
So I've got like someone explained to me, I can't remember who it was, and this is like my I think overstanding of metaphysics is like basically it's like, in a human body we're all like cells, and we're all the cells work together and they're all connected and they all work together to make the body go in. But obviously if some of the cells sort of rebel and do something that's not right for the body, it turns into a cancer. So it's the same as in how on this planet Earth, we as humans, plants, animals, we're all like interconnected, and if one of us isn't working well, it turns into a cancer for the planet, and that's why we have wars. And that's someone that basically explained that So in that sense, what metaphysics was, it's like basically the interconnection of everything and everyone, and how like it's all like our bodies are basically a representation of the earth, and the earth is like a representation of the universe, and that's how we're all interconnected.
Mm-hmm.
And that's basically,
well,
yeah.
I can't, I wouldn't be quick to argue against any of the definitions.
Yeah.
And I think that one is a really that one is a really good contextual definition, of metaphysics.
Okay.
If we step back and go just to the denotative definition, that which is beyond the physics or beyond the physical.
Yeah.
And then any contextual definition that you're going to give it is pretty much going to fit as long as you're talking about the whole of existence or the whole of reality or looking at all of it.
Yeah.
Then you're really talking about metaphysics. So I think, again, that's another really good contextual definition. And it's only when somebody's trying to define it as it contrasts with other things that we really want to kind of get down and dirty to talking about what metaphysics might not be.
Yeah.
I think that's a really good definition. And even with a lot of these contextual definitions, I think that it would kind of behoove people to come up with words that could either be added to the word metaphysics or words of their own that could define what various aspect of metaphysics that they might be studying. For example, I'll tell people outright that I do observational metaphysics, and they'll be like, "What the heck is that?"
Okay.
And that's defined as opposed to some of the other types of metaphysics that people are into, because it could really get deep. And then, of course, when you're getting more towards the science side, you're talking about quantum physics, and you're talking about astrophysics, and you're talking about all of these other things. And then, when you get toward the spiritual side, you're talking about all kinds of other stuff also. So it can really, I think metaphysics is really just kind of a catch-all.
Yeah.
My interest is more or less consciousness.
Okay.
And, the expansion of consciousness into the different dimensions that you could actually expand consciousness into. And also human consciousness and how human consciousness relates to the structure of reality. I could spend 2 or 3 lifetimes on just that aspect of it alone. So I try not to venture too far out from there because when you get into some of the other healing modalities, you could spend a lifetime on those. When you get into a study of just the different beings in the universe, you could spend a couple lifetimes on those. And as a matter of fact, in one experience, I had the blessing of seeing a catalog that cataloged all of the different beings and objects in the universe. And I would say I ran through about 20 files in my consciousness in this particular catalog. I mean, it was all kinds of stuff. And the file was kind of one of these endless type files that didn't have an end to it. So that just lets you know that, if we just, the scientific concepts, the beings, it's so expansive that you could pick a territory. You could spend your lifetime working out in that particular territory, and you wouldn't leave any of that, and you would still be able to offer so much to humanity that it's just ridiculous.
Okay, so I'm thinking,
it's just ridiculous.
I'm just thinking today, I think it'd be good to maybe have an introduction to metaphysics for the listeners.
Yeah.
So so you could basically talk about what you feel will be a good sort of will set the foundations for our listeners about metaphysics.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Okay, yeah, I think I can tackle that. What I would tell the listeners is this: when you are taking a look at yourself and excluding everybody other than yourself, what are your interests? What are those things that you would be guided toward studying? Those things that you would be guided toward knowing as a listener? What are those things that might be fringe topics that you would not necessarily be so willing to discuss with everybody outright, but those are things that you might find yourselves interested in? And then from there, what are those questions that you might have? In starting at that place, as opposed to starting with Aristotle or starting with some book or this or that or third, I think that you could find yourself, better grounded or better having a better foundation on which you could build your metaphysical knowledge, so to speak. And I'll say it like that because we found, or they found, that Aristotle's metaphysics was wrong, and even though he's credited as being one of the founding fathers of metaphysics, as that which is being beyond the physics, a lot of his ideas were wrong. And so what we want to understand is that all of us have ideas about things that we might not necessarily fully understand or fully know. And it is in examining those ideas and searching out the truth as it relates to what you want to know about ideas that you might have, that you get into what is called the metaphysical study, or the study of that which is beyond what you can see, that which is beyond what you know or what you're supposed to know, and going into metaphysics. And so those questions that a person might have about religion, about God, questions that a person might have about how society should be structured, is these questions that would lead a person to the type of study that would lead to a greater metaphysical understanding. And it's sort of like a loop where you go from having the questions to getting a greater metaphysical understanding to giving others the understanding that you have and using the understanding that you have to change reality. And so if you think of it as a circle like that, then that really, to me, represents the circle of, metaphysical thought and action that one, would want to, pursue it. Because the question could arise, okay, what is the value of having all of this information, or having this, metaphysical understanding? Is it just to be a glutton of information or a glutton of knowledge and wisdom? No, it's to take that information, and it is to actually use that information to create a new reality for yourself and a new reality for others. I used to teach school, and one of the things that I told the young people, I would say, turn around and look at all of the books that were sitting against the wall. And so if the listeners can just imagine a whole bunch of books sitting against the wall, and I said, well, those books might represent knowledge. I said, but the reason why we say information is power is because everything in that book is not going to be something that's going to be empowering to you to extract from those books. What you extract from those books is going to be information, and it is the information that is going to be used to empower you and to empower others in your life. And so thus the saying really isn't, and this is one of those little things where you hear people saying knowledge is power. It's no, the saying is supposed to be information is powerful because or information is power because the information is the usable or the useful aspect of the knowledge that you take from a book, and that you go ahead and use it in your reality, in your life. And it is that use, or that total cycle of use, that we call then wisdom. Okay, and so for anybody who would be listening, I would say that would be my foundation. I used to give a list of books for people to actually delve into and to read, but I don't do that anymore, only because I don't want to send anybody down a track towards something that I would have them understand as, being my understanding of what metaphysics is, or what I'm here to get out of a metaphysical understanding. But for anybody who's interested in what I call the expansion of consciousness, in that particular aspect of metaphysics, there are books that I would definitely recommend for you to expand your consciousness. And I guess the first thing I would give is a definition of what I mean by expanded consciousness. And what I mean by expanded consciousness is that my studies have shown me that the one thing that will lead to success in your life, in any sphere of your life, whether you want more money, whether you want better health, whether you want, a better future for yourself and your family, whatever it is you might think you want, these are all functions of a person having an expanded consciousness. Because if you have the idea to create it, if you have the conscious wherewithal to put the steps together to go out and get it, if you have the understanding of the different resources that it's going to take, if you have the right kind of information which will empower these thoughts, then you can create this reality in your life. And so to me, expanded consciousness is one of the most valuable tools that a person can get as it relates to a metaphysical understanding. Some of the foundational information that one would want as it relates to expanding one's consciousness is to understand that consciousness doesn't begin here and it doesn't begin in this particular lifetime. So if you have that as a foundational understanding, then what you can kind of do is you can kind of begin to step back into what are called the beginnings or the foundational aspects of consciousness. And there's a book called Journeys Out of the Body by Robert Monroe. I always recommend his book series, which is Journeys Out of the Body, Far Journeys, and Ultimate Journeys. Because I think that more than just about anybody else, he laid down a scientific understanding of the world that exists just outside of our world, or the dimensions that exist just outside of our dimension, as it relates to us coming into the Earth life system and moving out of the Earth life system. And if you don't know where you are, then I don't know how you could suppose to know, where you're going, so to speak. And so I recommend those books as kind of a foundation. And these are books on astral projection, but they're also books on the local neighborhood as it relates to our Earth, as it relates to our reality, but as it relates to those realities that are local to our reality. And if a person starts to build up an understanding that there are realities that are local to our reality, and there is consciousness that is kind of local to our consciousness, and that has an interplay in just how we think and just how we act and just how we move and groove and how our life goes, then I think a person will be better off for having that. And so I want to give that as a foundation. Another book, and this is just from the Afrocentric perspective, but I think anybody can get something out of it, is called From the Motherland to the Mothership. And what this book helps to do is it helps to expand your consciousness of what could be. Just to let a person know that the possibilities are way beyond what a person is really able to grip or to grasp. And what it starts to do as you start to read this book, it starts to either shut you down or expand your consciousness in a way of you're going to get kind of a headache, because you're going to try to process some of the things that happened to this person as being real. Okay. And so at that particular point, you have to ask yourself the question, well, how much am I willing to accept is real? And I really like that book for doing that, because at the end of the day, we do have to accept that certain realities exist that are, not within the scope of what we would think are real. But this is what expanded consciousness is about. It's about expanding your consciousness into new dimensions of thought, to understand new things that you don't understand, and then to get value out of those new things that you don't understand that can be used in our world. And for anybody who might not understand that, you really have to ask yourself, when you really sit down and think about it, how these people, they're just regular people like you and me, for all intents and purposes, how is it that they're able to come up with some of the, just some of the movies? I saw Tron Legacy. I mean, and it's just beyond anything human. Mm-hmm. Me and my son watched that 20 times. For those people who watch Star Wars when that first came out, or for those people who watched The Matrix when that first came out, or for those people who watched Avatar when that first came out, and it just blew your circuits, you have to ask yourself, well, a person could come up with a story about, some guy in a regular reality in this particular domain, but how is it that a person can reach way beyond where we are to come up with something like The Matrix, or to come up with something like Avatar, or to come up with something like Tron Legacy?
I like Tron.
and that comes from a person reaching into other dimensions of existence and pulling that information back.
Yeah.
Some of the technology that we have right now that we just take for granted because it's available in the store, you really have to be able to kind of meditate a little bit to really ask yourself, okay, or put yourself in a position of somebody who might have been in jail for 20 years and imagine yourself getting out and seeing some of the technology that we have today.
Yeah.
It would just strike you as bizarre.
Yeah. That's true.
I mean, to have a flat TV.
Yeah.
I mean, and there's not enough space in there to fit anything.
Yeah.
And, a lot of times we take it for granted that this technology that we have is just, okay, it is what it is. Some engineers came up with it. Okay, kill all the engineers off and see if you could come up with that TV or see if you could come up with that iPad.
Yeah.
We'd be back in the Stone Age.
Mm-hmm.
And so if we don't sort of make this jump into understanding where things really come from, and how these back engineered technologies that they've been working on for 20 and 30 and 40 years, in some cases hundreds of years, that they have led to some of the technological advances that we see today, then I think that we're worse off for it. I mean, if we just look at the cable. The cable is now fiber optic, and it's light that brings your cable into your household. I mean, it's insane.
Yeah, it is. When you really check it out, you just think, how did they manage this? How did they manage to get even people on the screen on the TV? It's just,
how did they figure it out?
Yeah.
Absolutely, and it's really a view into different, and we don't look at it as that, but it's really a portal that allows you to view into different worlds. Yeah. I mean, you got 1,000 channels that you could just punch in a number and you bring up some world that's far and away. Yeah. And I think those people who have satellite TV know it best because they're able to look into different countries and see different languages and things of that nature. Yeah. Whereas somebody who might have just a local cable provider or something like that would only be able to see stuff in their language. Yeah. But when you really look at it, it's really literally a portal that leads us into different worlds of consciousness. And, one of the things that I like people to understand is that we have in our head the prototype for what they have put in the television.
That's right.
And that's why they could plug that cord into Neo's head and have him, spirit away to another dimension, because that's what you can actually do with your own mind.
Yeah.
And just as an exercise, I remember Dr. Gibson, it didn't come from me, but Dr. Mitchell Gibson gave this one out, where he said, take one of those crop circles, print it out, or take a couple of them. Just print a couple of them out and just each night put one under your pillow and kind of just, watch what happens. That the crop circles, and the sacred geometry and the crop circles are capable of interfacing with your consciousness and carrying you off to just a whole host of places. And I think that that's something that any person could actually do as a consciousness expansion exercise that doesn't cost any money. You don't have to sign up for anybody's class or do anything like that. You just take, and if you have a printer, print out the crop circle and just it may take a couple. Now, for me, it happened on the first one, and then each successive one for about 3 of them. But it may take a couple, but I would suggest that everybody do that for themselves, and then you could kind of get an idea of some of the stuff that we're talking about.
Yeah.
And just real quick to give a story of what happened to me. In one instance, I put a crop circle under the pillow, and I awoke, and I was in a bar on another planet. And there was a guy who was he was beatboxing, and I thought he had like acne on his face, but it turned out that he was a humanoid with vertical bumps that were going, about 4 of them that were going straight down each side of his face. And he didn't beatbox. He was beatboxing 80s rap songs, but he didn't beatbox just the beat. He beatboxed the beat, the voice, and every other instrument in the song, and then he would change up the song every 10 seconds. And I guess that was his talent, and that's what everybody came to see him do. Yeah. And I was put in the same bar where this guy was, seeing him do this. Okay. And I told another person, or I told some of my students to do it, and one person actually did it and wrote back, and they said some aliens came, some form of aliens came, took the person out of his body, put him in another body of some sort, and allowed him to live the day in another body. And this was an experience that happened in consciousness.
Okay.
But it's kind of trippy stuff when this stuff happens to you, that you actually start to realize there's a lot more going on than meets the eye, you know?
Yeah. I'm going to try that one, actually.
So what's that? Put a crop circle under your pillow?
I mean, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it may take a couple. Now, I wouldn't suggest, somebody taking one of these, corporate crop circles, the Apple symbol or something. Yeah. Okay. You might have a dream about the new, the new iPad or something, and go out and spend your money on that. But I would say, take one that looks like it came from somewhere else. Yeah. Let's put it that way.
Okay. Like the Tree of Life or the Flower of Life.
You know what? I've tried the Tree of Life, and while that has other benefits associated with it, I didn't have any experiences in consciousness with that one. Okay. But a person could try ancient statues of from Angkor Wat, just take and print them out, or anything that you would deem yourself to have a connection with. I have a connection with the god Ta, and you just take and just print it out and see what happens for you.
Okay.
I was just, last week I took ill, and normally I would not have my son today. I had to kind of drive him around and wear him out to do the radio show. But I have a medallion, and it's called an Archangel Gabriel medallion, and it has the celestial script of the Archangel Gabriel on it. And man, I put that bad boy on one of my jugular veins. It's the interior jugular vein, and I mean this thing. Whew, it took me out there, man. I'm telling you, So I've had various experiences in consciousness that have been confirmatory. Experiences with spaceships and the whole 9 yards. And so I think when people start to have these types of experiences, then they start to realize, oh, so that's where they got that.
Yeah.
Okay.
You see, for example, the Transformers. I figured out where they got the Autobots and Decepticons from. They're an actual race of beings that actually look like the Autobots and Decepticons. Hmm. And so all somebody would have to do is to have an experience like that, and to take that and to transform that into a fictional depiction and just put it out for everybody. Yeah. And since it's in the collective consciousness of people anyway, that all of these beings exist, all of the ships exist, all of the places exist, and the whole 9 yards, we accept it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because you're not looking too far away from anything that is, that is something that you can accept. Yeah. And so it's like, wow, okay, Autobots and Decepticons. This is incredible.
I've got this ankh that I wear all the time. Could I use that under my pillow too?
What's that? I'm sorry?
My ankh.
Well, you know what? Again, it depends on what it is. I think I wouldn't go too far if you're looking for those types of experiences outside of those different sacred geometries. And I would only put the ankh under there if it has a really deep connection. Okay. And, it may take longer, it may take shorter, but if it has some kind of deep connection, you're probably going to have some kind of experience with it. Okay. A lot of the items that we have don't necessarily have what is called spiritual power associated with them just because they're there.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? And so you'd have to find something that is, a celestial script, some ancient Enochian. A lot of people put the sigils of Solomon underneath their pillow and things of that nature. And this is only because these have been shown to have some kind of spiritual power associated with them. Okay. And so I would keep it to that type of thing, because everything's not going to work, but experiment with anything.
Okay.
Certain things have more power when you're right there. Like, for example, someone said, if you sit in the arms of the Sphinx, then you're just gonna be transported out of here. I don't know if you put this picture of the Sphinx under your pillow, if anything is gonna happen though.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You get in the Great Pyramid, and you getting transported out of here. I don't know about the picture though. So you gotta give it some I guess do some experimentation with it. But we know that the crop circles work. We know that a lot of the ancient images of deities, whether it be from Angkor Wat, whether it be from Kemet, a couple of other places, we know that those work.
Yeah.
Those will give you some kind of an experience in consciousness. Even some of the European deities that a lot of people don't think have any kind of a power or pull to them. What you got to realize is that they've been praying and worshiping these deities for thousands of years.
That's right.
So a lot of the thought form or the thought energy that they've put in it, has manifested some kind of being associated with a lot of this stuff. So, we don't want to say that something doesn't exist or doesn't have any power to it just because it's not associated directly with something African or something really, really ancient.
Yeah.
And for example, if you really look at it, the god Shango, he's only existed for about 1,400 years. He was an actual king who existed 1,400 years ago. So that would be a young god, but you can have, and many people have attested to it, you can have an experience with Shango. So and so a lot of these deities or the concepts of these deities even go back a whole lot further than that.
Yeah. And
I'll just kind of leave it at that.
Yeah.
and let people experience. But when you have an actual experience, then it's different from, just reading about it.
Yeah.
It's different from somebody channeling something and sitting there and telling you. It's you actually having the experience, and that's what we want to have.
Yeah.
You mentioned Shango there, which is Django, isn't it? As you said in one of your videos, breaking down the metaphysics of the film Django Unchained.
Oh, absolutely. And I listen to a lot of the those people who definitely have experience. There's a brother Panic. A lot of people know him from the Blog Talk Radio show, The Remix. And he had mentioned in one of his shows that, Django or Shango said that I'll be coming back right around Christmas. And what we have to realize is that those energies, and really when we think about it, what are you? What am I? If we really thought about it, who we are is we're just energy. We're just energy occupying a physical vessel and having an experience in this world, okay? And so any energy that is not occupying a physical vessel and having an experience somewhere else could just be defined as energy that is having another experience, so to speak. And so Shango, and if for all of those who've seen, the play Fela, there's a part of the play where Fela goes through Shango's kingdom in the astral world, and then he goes to meet his mother who's passed away, and he has to go through Shango's kingdom to get there. Well, what we have to recognize is that a lot of these deities, they are just energy existing in another frequency of light that we can't see, or beyond this frequency of light. And I would share this with people that you could kind of study it and find it to be the true or false for yourself. But a lot of these deities are, in fact, the spiritual parents of a lot of us who are running around today in a physical form. And so when you see the movies where the deities are standing around the portal and they're looking through the portal down into Earth and they're trying to influence some of the affairs of man from on high, this stuff actually happens. And the way that they have an influence is they'll have an influence through those people who are what you would call influential. And one of the biggest things that needed to be influenced is that we needed an experience of love of the black man or the African man for the African woman, especially those of us who were brought over here to the West and we were made slaves, and we were given this experience of the man being the stud and the woman just taking it, and the broken families and all of the stuff that we have here. And so for us, for the first time in 500 years, we have now on film the experience of a black man loving a black woman, or we have a mythology that everybody has seen and can accept as that. And while it might be shocking to a lot of people, no, we didn't have that prior to just a couple of months ago. Yeah. And so that was, that was the growing up of Shango, because Shango represents the virulent, powerful male force, very sexual, beds the woman and then goes off and, does the adventurous thing. But the grown-up version of Shango would be the man who, wins the heart of his woman and steals his woman back from the destroyer, so to speak. And we have that motif in, every culture, but we did not have it in the broken culture that we would call, the African-American family of Africans stolen from Africa and brought here to America. So, that's a really big one. And Shango is, one of my spiritual parents and the spiritual parent of a lot of men, black men here in the Americas. Mm-hmm. A lot of them don't know, but that's the reality. Yeah. And so, to see this kind of image, Hollywood put this kind of image out, you got to wonder, well, who was working on Tarantino?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That is interesting, actually.
Yeah. And it'd be good if our brothers in the States, and not just in the States, but all over the world, can metaphysically absorb that film and get something from it on a spiritual level, and manifest it into this reality here. That'd be a great awakening for the whole of humanity.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think back because I was there at the Million Man March. Also, I was 16 at that particular time. But when I hear a lot of the outgrowth of just that one event, and even though, we don't want to give so much credibility and credence to just any one event, but a lot of times it is the one event that cements itself into the collective consciousness of people and moves the ball so far forward that it could have never been moved forward in that way otherwise. And so even something that's a mythology and something that's really not necessarily real in a one-to-one type of sense like Shango, it had such an effect as to irrevocably change the future in a sense. Now, there'll, of course, be other things that are going to happen, but, it's these events. And they're orchestrated they're definitely not orchestrated just on this level. That was orchestrated at a far higher level. And it had to be orchestrated in the way that it was orchestrated, in the time it was orchestrated, in order to do, what it was designed to do. Yeah.
And that, in essence, is to...
and anybody who's watching it from a metaphysical standpoint, anybody who has this information, I mean, we see it and we just say, whoa, this is incredible.
Yeah.
And so we see things a little different from the average person who, while it's happening in their face, they would want to come up with a reason other than what it is, that it's just this is just such an amazing thing.
Yeah.
So to me, it's almost like somebody flying off the top of a building and just landing on the sidewalk and walking away.
Yeah. There's been a lot of negative press about Django, especially from people in our communities.
Yeah, and that to me is to be expected, and that's because a lot of people still hold on, and I talked about this in one of my most recent videos, but a lot of people still hold on to an either religious or a political view of things. And the religious view says you should think like this, you should act like this, you should realize it to be this, and that's the way it's supposed to be. And what we have to recognize is when someone is speaking from that religious view of this is the dogmatic way that the African is supposed to act, and if he doesn't act in that way, then there's something wrong. And then there are other people who take what is called the political view, which is, where everybody has an opinion about something, you know, and a lot of times you wouldn't have this opinion if you didn't have the event in the first place.
Yeah.
And so that's the challenge with the cultural critic, so to speak, is that, okay, the cultural critics exist because somebody did something, not the other way around. You know what I mean? If nobody did anything, you wouldn't be hearing from a lot of these people who are giving a cultural criticism, which is okay, I guess. But I go back to Dick Gregory and his occult understanding and how he said, I saw the movie 9 times. And he said it did something to, or no, he said every second you're not watching Django, you're doing a disservice to your DNA. And to hear that come from somebody that like Dick Gregory. Now, people can say whatever they want, but they can't say Dick Gregory wasn't there for every event that had to do with any black struggle from 1960 on forward in the United States of America. He was there for all of them. Yeah. And so he would have, to me, a more depth of view as it relates to what's going on than just about anybody else, because he was there for everything. Yeah. He wasn't just there, you know, as a fly on the wall, but he was an integral part of every step that we've taken forward, going back from civil rights on up to the Million Man March, the Million Family March, beyond that to other things. I mean, he was there for all of it. And so that's how you could kind of, you could kind of judge yourself. You could kind of judge your view and say, okay, well, am I a little bit off in something? You know, well, this guy who was there for 55 years, and we know he ain't off. Yeah, most you know, can see some value in it. Then why can't I see value in it? Yeah. And a lot of people, I would dare say, they're not seeing value in it because they don't have a dynamically spiritual view. And you know, a truly metaphysical view is one that is you know, creative, that is dynamically spiritual and can recognize when something is, you know, that's creative is going on. You know, and that's a little bit of a challenge. I mean, that's almost another subject for another day, so to speak. But
yeah. But I mean, the fact that I do like the fact that you break down these films metaphysically. If you could go through one, not Django, because a lot of people haven't really seen Django. A popular film which has come out in the past year or so, and I know that you've done a lot of breakdowns on like films like Prometheus, even Cloud Atlas, which is one film I've not seen yet. In fact, I did start watching it, and I'm halfway through that film. It's very, very interesting, and I'd like to hit. In fact, you have done a video on that, haven't you? A breakdown on Cloud Atlas.
Yes, I did. I did a video on the breakdown of that one too.
Yeah, you did one on Prometheus also. I think Prometheus. Would you reckon?
Yep.
Rose in Blue. The breakdown of Prometheus. We've watched that film, haven't we?
Yeah. Yeah, I like that film.
Yeah. So,
the Prometheus and Cloud Atlas were relatively easy to do. One of the things I do want to share with you and your listeners is that a lot of times I do these breakdowns of these films, and I'll tell you, I go tabula rasa or blank slate after I've done the breakdown. So I couldn't tell you what the movie was about, and I couldn't tell you what the breakdown was about, because a lot of times I want to just leave my mind empty, so to speak, to recognize, you know, anything that's coming in, so to speak. And, you know, so it's hour by hour, you know, you got different information and different things coming in. And I just like to kind of say, okay, I left the record on the Meta channel, and now I'm moving forward. And I'm waiting for the new movies to come out. I'm waiting for the new events to happen. And, you know, a lot of times you have to have that kind of a mentality, except for when you're talking about it. Like, so if I'm talking about a movie, then I can reference a movie that came out before, or this or that or the third. Yeah. But, you know, I find it valuable also to kind of, you know, clear the mind, so to speak, and keep the mindscape clear. Yeah. You know, but I appreciate everybody, and, you know, everybody who's watched it, everybody who's kind of got something out of it. And, you know, I pray that it just spawns people to kind of either, you know, do it what it is that they would feel, is creative in their sphere.
Yeah.
You know, and people get something out of it in that way.
Yeah, most definitely. So, are you still teaching metaphysics now? Or?
Well, yeah, I do have students, and I have an academy, and the academy is primarily geared toward, again, expanding the consciousness of the students, and giving them some of those tools that will help them to be more successful. Primarily, that being the value of meditation, the value of work during your dream state, because we dream for 1/3 of our life. It's 1/3 of our life that we actually spend sleeping. And so if we're not getting any value out of that, then that's not necessarily a good thing. Another very valuable tool that I think that people need to have is an altar. And having an altar in your house is, having your own power station. And for anybody who doesn't have a power station in their home, that's one of the things that you'll notice will give you the most value, or the most kind of bang for your buck. A lot of us don't realize that we have either a debt that we're carrying karmically, and this is in terms of money, or a debit, meaning where we got money on the account, so to speak. And one person in every family gets to be absolved of the family debt. And so that's why you'll find where you'll have a rich aunt, and she's the one with the money, and can't nobody else seem to get over 50,000 or 60K a year. Or you'll have, in my immediate family, there's 8 of us. Okay. And so my brother, he's the Hollywood, ne'er-do-well millionaire. And everybody else is just, we're just kind of eking along, so to speak. And so until you clear the karmic debt of the family, then you won't be able to advance the family in the way of success in this world and in this world's life. Until you start to realize and to recognize some of those karmic lessons that we're here to learn. Now, some would say, well, we're just here to do what we're here to do, and why not just let it go and let it be? I don't necessarily follow that or ascribe to that philosophy. I ascribe to the philosophy of, why not go to as high as you can go in this world? Why not all of us be, successful in this world's life, and we'll just have a very successful world. You know what I mean? See, because then you got to put our world in with the other billions of worlds that exist out there. And so even if we were all successful, we would just be dealing in a bigger pool of planets where people are, even further along than us. But I think that the altar is one of those tools that a person would definitely want to bring into their home in order to do that, because there's ways to send money to your ancestors, and there's ways to make sure that they're taken care of. There's ways to pay honor and homage to your spiritual parents and to those deities who do in fact exist and can help you. In a lot of cases. And, it's just a benefit that everybody should have. It's an insurance policy that everybody should kind of buy into, in my humble opinion.
So, what would you suggest people put on their altars?
Oh, well, just in a very simple way, you want to definitely have representation of the family. It doesn't. If you don't like a person, you don't have to actually put a physical representation of that person on the altar, but just a physical representation of the family. Make it so that it shows that you honor the person. So if they got these kind of discount department stores where in the back they sell the picture frames and stuff, and so get a nice picture frame for your family members. Any deity that you would say, is somebody that you would respect, whether it be from, the pantheon of ancient Kemet, or whether it be from the Indian god pantheon. It doesn't really matter where the deities are. It could be Jesus. Some people believe in Jesus. Put the Bible up there if that's what you want to do. But a representation of God. You definitely want to have some clean candles on your altar. You definitely want to have a long, what is called a how can I put it? an offering that you leave up for a long time. So that's like something that wouldn't spoil immediately, like a banana or something like that. And you could just change it out every week or so. And then you want to have daily offerings of food. And what you would want to realize is that, the ancestors, they take from the energy of our world because they move into what is called the second dimension. And in the second dimension, it's a dimension of survival. Just kind of like our dimension, we survive and then we start to maintain. Well, they're in survival mode down there, and the lesson of that world is you got to survive. And so if you're giving these people food to eat, if you're sending them money and things like so that they could get some of the things that they need, then they're in a better condition and they don't have to work so hard. Because for example, if you sent them $20 in our world, it's $20. In their world, it's $200,000. And they could do a lot with $20 in their world. You wouldn't believe it. But you want to send regular offerings. It's the reason why the Chinese send the money over at Chinese New Year's and at other times of the year, because they know that their family can benefit from this, from the money that you actually send over there. Okay. And so along with the regular offerings, I would say, of course, you want to put prayers up. Ancient prayers are better than modern prayers, but you want to just do a little bit of work at the altar every day, a little bit of, just praying and just sending them over. You can go to kind of like a Chinatown or somewhere where they would sell Chinese money, and you could buy just a stack of it, and you could send a few dollars over there to your family every day. And then what you'll start to notice is in your life, things will start to, first of all, nothing bad will happen to you. That's the first thing that you're going to notice. So if you have a regular period or interval at which, you lose $2,000 every now and then, the car might break down, or, something happens to where there's a family emergency, or, you might get into little accidents here and there, you're going to notice that all of that's going to stop. That's going to be the first thing. And so your life is going to, go from zero to hero. You don't have to worry about it being negative anything. And that's a good thing. Another thing that you could do is, of course, I got a little radio, and I'm looking at my altar now. I got a little radio sitting in my altar. You could play ancient prayers for them. You could play those binaural beats. The binaural beats that clear up stuff for us, they clear up stuff for them too. And you can send that kind of energy into the spiritual world. You can play some of their favorite songs, which will energize them. A lot of it is, some people don't even see their family members when they go into their dreams and things of that nature. Then you'll start seeing your family members. You'll start seeing them, and you'll see some of them are a little better off. And a lot of times they're better off because of the work that you've done. You'll start traveling further as it relates to distances in your dreams. I have dreams where I'm with, I hang out with the stars, so I'm not hanging with the common folks. I'm hanging out with, the stars of our world. I won't name anybody in particular, but, anybody who's kind of a star in this world, I've been with them. And it's just because on the astral plane, I have a lot of money now because I've sent a lot of money over there. And so it has cleared up my my travel arrangements, so to speak, to where now I can travel the world and be where these people are. The one thing to understand about the dream state is it is the gateway to the astral world, and a lot of it is connected directly to the astral world. And so, those family members and friends that you have who've passed on, and some of them that are actually here, those are the people who can speak on your behalf to other people. And so they might say, hey, Brother Haru, he's got a nice little show on XYZ radio. Why don't you put him on the regular radio channel? And so you'll have somebody who's listening in to the regular radio station, and then somebody will come to that person and say, why don't you give this person this opportunity? And that's how they work. They'll open your life to opportunities that you would not have had otherwise. The difference between the person who has a successful life and the person who has an unsuccessful life is as simple as this. The person who has a successful life walks out the door, walks downstairs, and walks into the opportunity that creates the successful life. The person who doesn't have the successful life misses it by 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 5 minutes. And that's the only difference, because it takes other people to really make our lives successful. And so when you start running into those people that are going to make your life successful in the way that you want it, then you'll know that your spiritual work is actually paying off. Because it's other people's interaction with you in whatever way, whether it's a better job or a better opportunity or you meeting the love of your life, you know, that's kind of what it is.
Okay. So, any color candle on the altar?
What's that? Well, it can be,
color,
it shouldn't be a black candle, of course, but any clean candle, there is a way of cleansing your candles so that your candles can actually be clean, or cleansing any artifact that you have. And that's just to say an ancient prayer 7 times. There are a lot of ancient prayers out there. They're not in the English language. For the people who say English is a bastard language in certain it is in certain aspects of it. And so you want to get an ancient prayer. There's the Anabacoic, that works well. That's ANABEKO 'ACH. You know, you can learn it. It's very easy, a very easy prayer to learn.
Okay, repeat that again, please, James.
Yeah, it's called the Anabacoic.
Anabacoic.
Yeah, it's an ancient Hebrew prayer, and it's very powerful. You can put that on your altar, and you can learn that as a prayer to say over your candles. And it's very easy. You just say the prayer 7 times over candles, over water, over anything, and you made holy water.
Okay.
So you've turned your regular water into holy water, or your regular candle into a holy candle. You could throw a rock at a bookshop and get a good candle preparation type of book. But if you said one of these ancient prayers over the candle 7 times, you've pretty much anointed it and made it a cleansed candle. Let's see, there's the Usnisa Vijaya, which is a harder prayer to learn, but it's a even more powerful prayer. The Our Father, you know, or the Lord's Prayer, as long as you can get it in Sanskrit, is a good prayer to learn. But it's an even more difficult prayer to learn. And so, you know, as the prayers get more difficult to learn, you can just about bet that the value that you're going to get out of the prayer is going to increase. You know, and so just those things, and having those things on your altar is just gonna empower your altar even more and more. And then there are more secrets, you know, that can be found. I teach some of them in my course, and others teach them. You know, but the altar is one of the biggest things that I would say that a person could have toward the protection of their home and the protection of the investment that they're making in this particular life and in this particular lifetime.
And people can also add like crystals and certain plants and flowers on there as well. Is that right?
Yeah, I would go with if you want to add some fresh flowers, candy or whatever for the family, great. Crystals, as long as you know how to cleanse them. So as long as the crystals are cleaned properly, you can go ahead and add certain crystals. Will empower your altar. And I think that the key is cleanliness. You know, because of course, if you're going to put the representation of deities and stuff on your altar, you just want to make sure the altar is clean. With a lot of crystals, there are a lot of people who know how to clean them properly and who know the properties of the various crystals. But just make sure you get yourself something like the Crystal Bible first to make sure that your, you know, crystals and things of that nature are clean. Not necessary to have crystals. I don't have any on mine, but for those people who really know how to do that, you know, it can really empower your altar to do so. I would really, you know, suggest that the crystals be used in, you know, kind of creating some kind of a, you know, maybe almost like a headdress or an apparatus to use with the crop circles. It can push you further out of here than you would otherwise. But again, with everything comes its warning, its disclaimer, so to speak.
Yeah.
And just in having disclaimer of a crystal is just making sure it's cleansed properly, because you don't want anybody else's energy or the energy of something. Just as easy as some positive energy can jump into a crystal, some negative energy can jump in there also.
Yeah. Most definitely. Well, thank you for that information, James. Yeah. Nice one. You got any more questions for James?
I've got like 1,000, but I can't pick one.
Okay, pick one.
Well, I mean, hey, I definitely, even if you want to write them down, questions, I'd be willing to kind of answer them, write them out, and you can share them every once in a while on the show. Pick a question and share the answer with people as you go, or I'd certainly be willing to come back on the show and and answer any more questions, or this is something I really enjoy to do, and I love to share what I know.
Nice one. So you school then? Anybody around the world can attend your school then, can't they, online?
Yeah, currently anybody can attend. It's online. It's go at your own pace. And so a person, it's a year that's really broken down to about 44 lessons over the course of a year. It's very inexpensive. It's about $300. Right now it's $250 to kind of get in if a person does it before March the 1st. But it's really a go at your own pace, and you'll get a person will get a lot out of it. One of the things that I like to say I bring to the table is I'm like the oasis in the desert. You could get to the university, but you might get to the wrong one. You might be in the wrong desert. And so, it's just, I kind of put the person where they're kind of supposed to be, because, God kind of put me where I was supposed to be. And so I just kind of cut through a lot of the clutter that a person would have. I read a lot of the books that people don't really need to read, but I read a lot of the ones that people would benefit from. And so what I try to do is I try to share a lot of that information with people to kind of, really put them on the right path. And so it's a 2-year program. Again, quite inexpensive, and anybody who, is kind of, guided to want to be a part of something like that can definitely, feel free to join us.
Brilliant. Could you give a link at all, please? And
you can go to my, you could either go to my blog or my YouTube channel. Let me give the YouTube channel first. It's youtube.com/meta channel, META channel. And right in the description tag of every video, I have my email address and I have all of my blogs. The blog is Ohm Pages, OHM Pages, PAGES.blogspot.com. ohmpages.blogspot.com. And anybody who has any questions about anything I've said on the radio show today, you can go ahead and email me. I can give you a book or give you somewhere where you can find more information on anything that I've said. It's jameswillpower@gmail.com.
Okay.
Brilliant.
We'll share those at the end of the show. But okay, I've actually thought of a question now. Have you ever studied any of the religious scriptures, such as the Quran and the Bible and the Torah and the Bible? Have you have you ever studied any of those scriptures? Seems to have cut off.
I'll try and get him back. It was cut enough there, wasn't it? Maybe because it was on a bit too long. I'll try again.
Okay, my apologies. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can
okay,
hear
James. Brilliant.
Okay, okay. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
No
But the scriptures. I'm more or less, most of my studies are Bible, Holy Quran, or any of the Western religious scriptures. I've read some of the Bhagavad Gita and some of the other stuff, but I've not really studied it, so to speak.
Yeah.
One of the things, or two of the scriptures that we study in the Metasphere Academy are the Emerald Tablet, and we study the Book of Enoch. particularly because those two have to do with travels into the other worlds. But yeah, any questions that you have on those, I can sort of, try to answer or clear up for you.
The Book of Enoch is a
because what it is, I've basically set myself for this year is to study actually like all of the scriptures, and the Book of Enoch is actually in my list of books to look at.
Mm-hmm. So, I think that one is a incredible book for people to read, and just to try to get an understanding that, those places that he references in the Book of Enoch do in fact exist. Those and places beyond that. So,
and the Book of Enoch was taken from the Bible, wasn't it?
The Book of Enoch, I don't know if it ever. There are a lot of different books that never made it into the Bible.
That's right, yeah.
But because when they were compiling it, they said, okay, this is just too far out there. We can't touch this or we can't touch that. So I don't think it's one that actually made it in.
Right, yeah. Is that the Book of Thomas as well? That's another one, isn't it?
Yeah, the Book of Thomas, the Book of Judas, the Book of. Yeah. I mean, and there's so many different ones that actually never saw the light of day, but they could give us some indication of just what the teachings of this man Jesus was.
Yeah.
Now, of course, we know that there's a mythology associated with Jesus, and then there's the reality of what it is, in fact, that he taught. But, if we are to believe the historian Josephus, then there was, in fact, a man named Jesus. But I guess, the question then would be, okay, now how much of the information at that particular time that came from the Essenes and from everybody else was lumped in under this teaching, that eventually became the Christian teaching, or corrupted into the Christian teaching. And so, it can really get deep.
It can, yeah.
It can really get deep. Yeah, but I've made the discovery that the angels are in fact real. That what we have is a lot of of prophets. Those stories were actually mythology or became mythology. Did you want to? So, so we got to kind of be careful with that. But it's what they would do to any of us. I mean. They're not going to tell your story the way it happened. They're going to tell the 2-hour version of your life, which may have been 70 years. And they're going to pare it down to about 2 hours, and they're going to give people the highlight reel of your life. And if you really think about it, like if they gave a 2-hour version of any of our lives, I mean, that would be some fascinating stuff.
Yeah.
So.
Awesome. Yeah, I wanted to ask you actually about. I know you don't like to relive one of your videos on metaphysics, but there was one in particular which stuck out. Rosa's gonna like this one. The metaphysics of pornography. You did a video on that as well.
Okay.
Because we're actually running
the metaphysics of what you were
pornography.
Of
pornography.
I didn't hear that.
Pornography.
Oh, the metaphysics of porn. There's certain aspects of it that are for marketing purposes. The metaphysics of pornography. What's interesting? Even that, I don't even remember what I said. But if there are any aspects of it you want to talk about, we can talk about it.
I was going to say, the next time you come on, we can actually discuss that, because we're actually running a campaign against the sexualization of children in the music and the media.
And women. And
men. The objectification of women.
Just the hypersexualization in the mainstream media.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So great, yeah, let's go ahead and do that. So now I can rewatch it and say, what the heck was I talking about?
Yeah.
Because a lot of times I'm going to be perfectly honest with you, I really don't know. And it helps me to kind of live life to not be caught in the meta channel all the time.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I can't go to Safeway. And I'll see people on the street and they'll say, hey, you're the guy from the meta channel. And it's interesting, which is, I think, a great thing, that a lot of them will actually start teaching me. I mean, not teaching me, but lecturing me on the street, which I think is a wonderful thing, but I just can't get enough of them to kind of say, hey, man, you need to start your own channel, because everybody, I think, has an interesting viewpoint.
Yeah.
No, well, not everybody, but everybody, I think, that has a great interest in this, has an interesting viewpoint that could actually be shared with others, And there's one friend, I've actually brought his name up a couple times on the Meta channel, Jamal. And I mean, the guy's witty. He's very well informed, and he could touch a segment of the population that not a lot of people could touch, and that's that 13 to 25 young black male population that not a lot of people are really gonna get easy access to. And I recognize that I paint with a very broad brush myself. But there are other people who can kind of put those fine colors in that I could never, manage to put in if I, spent 1,000 years doing it. But I'm definitely willing to talk about that. I think that's a subject that definitely needs to address, and I'll be ready to go next time. So if you want to set up the time to do it, I'm there with y'all.
Nice one. Thank you very much. Thank you. So we should definitely.
You're welcome.
That one. Yeah. We should have a group discussion on that one actually, because we are running an event on International Women's Day. I'm not sure if it's the same in the US on March the 8th, but we're actually doing an event here in the city of Leicester in England. Have you ever heard of Leicester, by the way, James?
You know what? No, I haven't. I'm sorry.
Well, Brother Haru, he's actually from Wolverhampton.
Okay.
I'm a Leicester native, so you're officially talking to what do they call
country
it?
people?
No, they call us Leicesterians, don't we?
Okay, I'm not sure about that one.
Leicesterians.
About that one.
Yeah, no, seriously, do you know, like,
I haven't
because
actually visited the UK, but I would love to make it a point on my travels, but
No, because in England, if you're from Manchester, they call you Mancunian, and if you're from Liverpool, they call you a Liverpudlian. And if you're from London, it's a London. And then so I said, what do they call them? Leicesterians. And then someone said, no, it's Leicesterian.
Okay.
I like that. Y'all got the coolest sounding name though. Leicesterian.
It's not the coolest city though. Let me tell you, James.
Oh, it's not the coolest city.
Well, I'm a country boy at heart, so I'll do well out there. Just as because I'm actually about to leave a city that's kind of a little hardcore.
Okay.
And you come here, you work out, you try to do something to create change, but then ultimately, we really have one go around, on this rock in this lifetime.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna move to a place that's a little more, a little more spread out.
Yeah.
Better place to raise children. So,
yeah. So you've got a little one, haven't you?
Yeah, I have a 4-year-old. So.
Oh, nice one. I heard him in the background.
Yeah. You heard him for a second. He's just waking up and, like kind of right on time. I'm like, yeah, see, he wasn't up the whole show.
Nice one.
It would have been totally different. I would have been shucking and jiving and dancing and doing anything to kind of get through it.
Yeah.
But
it's okay. Bring him on, man. We're trying to make it a family show anyway. So,
Yeah.
do you know what I mean? And keeping it real out here,
Oh, great. Okay.
Yeah, man. Yeah. No doubt. Anyway, the top of the show, and we'd like to thank you once again for coming on the show, James. And we'll have to set up a date for another show and discuss the metaphysics of pornography.
Okay, let's do it.
I'm gonna have to check that video out. Well, I'm gonna check those videos out on
Yeah.
YouTube anyway. So.
Mm-hmm.
And then we can discuss more further because if I think it will help us to explain our campaign a bit more as well.
Yeah. Most definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm there with you. If there's one or two other ones you want to discuss at the same time as we go through that one, just kind of let me know. And let's kind of talk offline and kind of see what's going on because I really don't know. In a general sense, I guess we all know, but I can't say specifically and particularly what's going on in other areas of the world, and we kind of got to open the door to creating some understanding of what you all are dealing with, and
definitely. get a wider perspective in it.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I'm sure you'll be interested to hear about the fellow Leicesterfarians of Leicester.
Oh, I want to hear more about the Leicesterfarians. So we're gonna have to have that conversation too, definitely. I want to know what's the difference. What is the difference between a Leicesterfarian and somebody from Manchester and how
Okay.
What's the because it's interesting. It's an interesting thing. I'm always interested in people and learning about
Okay.
Well, between Leicester and Manchester, it's a good 120, 130 miles away, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's how much is that in kilometres? About 160.
58 miles.
58
54 kilometers.
kilometres. About 160 kilometres.
Well,
isn't it?
for America in the States, that just
Do you-
seems
do you
like
go-
the other cities.
Do you guys go by miles or kilometres?
Yeah, we're miles. We got
Oh,
the
okay, you go
English.
by
The
miles.
English got
Yeah,
us on
go
the
by
mile,
miles.
man.
Yeah, but I mean, like England is really small compared to the States, so
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard. Yeah, I mean, like 100 miles is not that far. Like,
yeah. But for us, that's like 100 miles for us is like a whole completely different city, and completely different
Wow.
lifestyle in a sense as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
and in the States, 100 miles. It depends on what part of the country you're in. Like, if you're in the South, Texas or somewhere, 100 miles, you might drive that in a day.
Okay.
Just in your normal day. So here, 100 miles is, more closer to the capital. 100 miles is like the distance between a couple cities. And you might drive that every week or so, like that you're going from city to city, or you're going to visit somebody in Washington, D.C. from Baltimore. That's about a 30 miles down, 30 miles back, or, it's, 100 miles total because you're probably going to be driving from end to end. But,
Okay.
it's not a lot.
Yeah, for us, it's like it's a hassle.
It's not really though,
Well,
is
I
it?
find it a hassle going to Manchester all the time.
Yeah, but depends on it depends, isn't it? Because you have to go up and then down and around. If you go into London from here, it's just straight. If you go to Birmingham, it's just straight.
Yeah, London, that's
so,
fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, I imagine in America, like that would be like going to the next village. That would be like us going to Market Harborough.
Okay.
Like with them traveling 100 miles.
You're in the state of Baltimore.
Maryland.
Yeah, I'm in Baltimore, Maryland, which is near the it's near the capital. It's about 40 miles or so from the capital.
Okay,
and
Washington.
then New York is about 300 and something miles from us.
Okay.
So that'll give you an idea of just where things are. But a distance for us to drive would be like from here to New York. That's pretty much like if you're driving a distance, you're going to New York for the day.
Okay.
And that's 300 and some odd miles. So
Okay.
anything within that, we can drive it. So if I could see the whole of the UK within 300, 400 miles, then that's a good day.
Yeah, you'll have to come down and visit us.
just nip down, yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to slip over there. You know what I mean? I might not come back, so just prepare. To visit. We might have to visit State Department. I don't know who you got to visit when you do things like this.
Bring the
when
family, man.
when you accidentally lose your passport.
That'd be interesting.
But we'll discuss that. But thanks,
we'll
guys. Thanks for
discuss that
having me. I'm
off-air.
gonna go ahead and get off here and give some time to my son. He's up now, and
Yeah, of course.
we're gonna watch a little bit of the American football. I gotta say it like that because there's football and then there's American football.
Yeah, that's right. The soccer.
which is not the real football, but it's something that we enjoy nevertheless.
Okay.
That's all.
Brilliant. Yeah, thank you very much for coming on the show, and I'm sure we'll
Yeah, man,
connect
we'll catch up
later.
soon, and
Yeah, definitely.
I'll shout you on offline anyway. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not tonight
All right,
though,
thank
because you're watching the
Me on
game.
Facebook and all that. Now that we just family.
For real,
You
no
can,
doubt.
hit me up on Facebook. And it's interesting. When I got sick, I didn't know what was going on, and there was supposed to be 2 shows today.
Okay.
There was supposed to be 2 shows, both of them in the UK.
Okay.
And I guess I thought y'all was affiliated for some reason.
Okay.
But I got one down, which is great, man, and I had a great time, and I definitely appreciate you all having me.
Thank you for coming on.
All right,
you.
we'll catch up soon anyway.
Yeah, nice one.
All right.
Let's see you.
Bye.
Okay, namaste.
All right, bye-bye.
Okay.
Yeah, that was a great show. That's another introduction into metaphysics.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. I think I need to get a copy of the Book of Enoch.
Yeah. And he got some education on where he resides and the distance from Maryland to New York.
Well, I imagine like in the States, because obviously I've got relatives there, and like traveling to like
from one state to the next.
It's like basically them.
Cinch,
for them,
really.
it's like for us, it's like our version of going to Market Harbor.
Okay.
For them.
Yeah.
So like from California to Nevada, it's like
Okay.
us going to Market Harbor.
Or just say not in a minute, really.
Whatever, same thing, whatever.
Because not many people would know Market Harbor, really. It's some ponted town just down the road. It's actually a nice little town, to be honest.
No, it isn't.
Okay.
I used to work there, so I know.
I've worked there as well. Oh dear. Wow.
Yeah, no, that was
Yeah.
So
we're gonna go to a short break and then
start doing all the details out and stuff.
Do you remember the details?
Nah, but I want to talk about International Women's Day.
As well. Okay.
Yeah. Alright.
Yeah. Check. Who they down for? Live from Cloud 9. Yeah. Check. I see the big picture. It's clear to me now more than ever. I sit with a calm spirit. These boulders I'm holding are now feathers. Yeah. This is my life, reprised over beats. My thoughts are now in sync with the stars I realign. With these bars I redefine a 16, i.e. prey on them C's, I am that 16. I am that kick in the snare, prepare a pristine picture, I swear, something like Angela. Either artist, no artist can hold a candle to. Mind close to the cosmos I travel to. Go to war with the stars I'm trekking. I am Picard and Luke together, peek my sky walk. Live from Cloud 9, who they down for? Tell them act crew, yeah. Yo, who they down for? Yeah. Live from Cloud 9, act crew, yeah. Who they down for? Act proof. Live from Cloud 9. Tell me, how big is your world? Scope in a snow globe? Shook up, they put up with views, touching my palms. 23rd Psalms, original bars. Spar with the prongs of a devil's pitchfork, attempt to draw my own conclusion, it's art. The broad stroke of a quote. I'm touching everybody, give them hope. So give me rope, double dutch, and most choke. Plus they wanna hang, and what a nuisance. Plus a noose is just too much. It's strange how I strangle them. Loop it up, the math of a drum pattern. Arranging them is kindred to my brain. It's keeping me in line while I iron out the wrinkles. I'm bringing them more just to intrigue you. Ha, it's my Van Gogh ear while I give it to you here. So you hear what I'm saying? What I gave them was a piece of me. So piece me back together, please. It's me and E live from Cloud 9. What they down for? Tell them act proof. Who they down for? Yeah. Live from Cloud 9. Act proof, yeah. Who they down for? Act proof. Live from Cloud 9.
The forecast for Durham Raleigh now, considerable cloudiness and turning colder tonight.
Thanks to James Powell for coming on the show this evening.
Thank you.
Big up all the listeners. Thank you for listening in. Thank you for listening to Essence Radio, the Innervibe show, with
Rosalind Blue and Brother Haru.
Thank you for Mr. Lee. And you've got something to say. You got an announcement to make, haven't you?
Yeah. International Women's Day, people. It's on March the 9th at the Highfield Centre, and the organisation is actually coming along really well, considering our organisation skills can be quite off at times.
It's not that.
What? What is it then?
It's other people's lack of effort.
Okay, anyway. But it's coming along, and
We organised pretty well, actually.
Yeah.
I mean, we organised International Women's Day last year within a matter of weeks.
Okay.
And it was a huge success, so yeah.
But it's coming along, and we're going to have an international eat out. So basically, people from all over the community are donating food and contributing food, and we're going to have a big buffet thing. And it's going to be £3 a plate or £5 all you can eat. I think that's a fair price.
I think it's a fair.
And all funds go to the Sexual and Consumer Exploitation in Mainstream Music and Media campaign, which is a grassroots campaign that receives no funding at all, and we deal with the hypersexualization in the media,
which affects both men and women.
Which affects both men and women, and which is actually affecting society as a whole.
As a whole, yeah.
In a negative aspect.
It's part of the destructive nature in society.
Yes. So all funds do go to a worthy cause. If you can't contribute any food or anything, please just bring yourselves. Bringing yourselves is enough for the day. And there'll be some we've got a Kundalini session there. We're going to have singers. We're going to have poets. We're going to have people doing talks. I have to say this because if I say it, it will make it official, but I'm going to be doing with someone else a mini play.
Okay.
And I'm acting for the first time ever. So you can see my awful acting skills.
Okay.
I hope they're not awful, but yeah, anyway.
And we will have a special guest on the day.
Who's
hopefully
that?
Raven Kalyana.
Oh yeah.
She's got an amazing story to tell.
Yes.
And she's actually made a couple of films?
Yeah.
Puppet films, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. Puppet type films.
Yeah.
Animation.
She is a lovely, amazing woman, I must say. Very strong woman.
Very strong.
Honestly, she has her story is definitely a story that I think people need to learn about, especially in terms of like everything that's happening in society today and the reasons why it's happening. We met her at an event, isn't it?
That's right. Against the sexualization of children.
Yeah.
The event was, so that would be 9th of March anyway.
Oh, and I just got a text from someone, Shireen.
Okay.
And they can do the Women's Day Infusion Dance School.
Oh.
So we're going to have Infusion Dance School doing a dance. Brilliant.
Awesome.
Thank you, Shireen.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
And, Oh, yeah, so anyway, if people contact me, you can contact me via Facebook. So my Facebook is www.facebook.com/RosalynBlueFreedom, RosalynBlueFreedom, Rosalind Blue Freedom. But let me share all the links now. So if you want to catch this show and previous shows that we have done before, we have 2 YouTube channels because we're in the process of moving all the other radio shows to the new one. So the first one is youtube.com/user/Skidan for real, SKIDAN 4 real REAL. And then our other YouTube channel is youtube.com/user/Innervibe show, INNERVIBESHOW. So check out you can listen to our previous shows on there. We do have a Twitter, it's @Innervibe. Yes, I hope you can spell Innervibe, because I can't be asked to spell it again.
INNERVIBE.
And we have and for our campaign, we have another Twitter, which is @SCEM1, SCEMM1. So follow those and holler at us, definitely. And that's all I got to say.
What about James Power's website and his blog spot? Was it?
Okay, I can remember it.
On Pages. That's OHM Pages PAGES.
.blogspot.com. And then his YouTube is the Meta channel. So youtube.com/user/Meta channel METACHANNEL. And he did say at the bottom on the videos, his email's there. If you have any questions for him, don't be afraid to send him an email and ask it, and he'll get back to you.
Look into his school.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
So all I got to say is,
who we got Wednesday?
What we got Wednesday?
We have Truth, Wisdom and Knowledge Group joining us on Wednesday. So we're gonna have.
What is that? The Facebook group?
Yeah, we're gonna have like Facebook groups who are quite active coming on the show and having a group discussion on a Wednesday.
Yeah.
Every so often, so that the people, can air their views and opinions on society and what they feel strongly about and so forth. I think that's a good look, bringing the family in and sharing and building.
Yeah, that's what it's all about and stuff. So, Brother Haru, what have you learnt this week?
What have I learnt this week?
I think we should talk about this every Sunday.
Yeah, okay.
Just because it's the end of the week.
It's the beginning, actually.
Is it? It depends how you look at it.
Yeah. I've learnt this week just to be me.
Oh, that's what I learnt this week. Isn't it weird though? Because I was talking with a friend, I was like, I'm confused. And he was like, what are you confused about? And I'm like, I don't know, but I'm confused. Obviously, we've all been brought up, you've been brought up a Christian and I've been brought up a Muslim. And, sometimes I think, oh, my God, people are going to be like, oh, my God, you're so un-Islamic and stuff. And I'm like, I'm confused now. Because I agree with all the religions, there's truth in all of them. And then sometimes I think, it's... The core aspects of all these religions are truth, but then there's people in those religions that corrupt it for their own personal desire, and then obviously that gets indoctrinated into people, and I see it all the time. So I'm like, I'm confused now.
Well, it's not just religion what confuses
No,
people.
Not religion in general.
It's the whole of society, isn't it?
It just
the
in
TV
general.
in particular.
Yeah.
Which is a major
exactly
controlling device.
So then my friend was just like, just be yourself and stuff.
And most people don't know how to be themselves anymore. And they don't even want to be themselves, or they're in the illusion that they're being themselves, but in actual fact they are a carbon copy of what they've seen on the TV or what their environment has moulded them into be.
So my lesson that I learned this week is just, like you say, carry on being me. And what me is to carry on, not knowledge, information searching, actually. Because information is power, like James Will Power said.
And manifesting that greatness within.
Yeah, definitely.
As Jesus said in the Bible. I mean, we will do greater things than he. And, this is what we should all be aiming for.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? To come from the soul rather than the ego.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So, are you confused?
I'm not confused now.
I don't think I am anymore.
Okay, that's good. Good on you.
Oh, God.
Shall we wrap up?
Yeah, it's time to wrap up.
You don't want to wrap up, yeah. You want to talk all night?
Well, no, we're going to wrap up the show and then I can talk to you after the show.
Oh, no. I'm so looking forward to that.
Alright then, wholeness people.
Okay, I'll just leave you with this quote.
Go ahead.
Okay, by William James, is an American philosopher and psychologist, leader of the philosophical movements of pragmatism back in 1842 to 1910. The unrest which keeps the never-stopping clock metaphysics going is the thought that the non-existence of this world is just as possible as its existence. On that note, we're going to be signing off, and we'll be tuning back in on Wednesday at 7 p.m. So we'll see you then.
What are we doing on Wednesday again?
Truth, Wisdom and Knowledge Group.
Yes, that's it. See you then, people. Bye.
Bye.